You know your attachment style, you've done therapy, you follow the somatic healing accounts, and you might even know what the vagus nerve is. And you still feel off. Not in crisis, not like you're falling apart. You just don't feel quite right. It's like something is out of alignment, but you can't quite name it. Hello, and welcome back to Cozy with Chelsea, a podcast to nourish your mind, body, and soul. I am your host, Chelsea. So what I see often in my clients is they're very aware. They're very aware of what is wrong. They're aware of their patterns. They know what they want to fix, but dysregulation lives in the body. So you can do plenty of research, and trust me, I have. But what it really comes down to is if your nervous system truly is dysregulated, it lives in your body. It lives in the subconscious. It presents itself in responses that fire off automatically before you can even get to the conscious thought. So you might know, for example, that you have a people-pleasing pattern, which is really a fawn response when it comes to the nervous system. Knowing that you're a people pleaser and knowing that you have a fawn response doesn't mean that you aren't going to get triggered and go into that fawn response. So I think reading and researching and analyzing is great. Obviously, I do all of those things, but those tools are all top down. Okay. They are trying to get your brain to manage your body. But the nervous system does not always respond to logic. It responds to feeling safe. Now, before we go any further, I just want to mention today's sponsor, which is Brick. And I have been using my Brick because I post on social media, of course, for my business, but I don't necessarily enjoy being on social media for long periods of time, and I can feel when I get a little bit more sucked into it than I would like to be. And I actually genuinely really love this product, and that's why I went to them to get this link for you guys so that you can get 10% off if you want to try the Brick. It's magnetic, so I put it on my fridge, and you can just tap your phone on it and it will shut down whatever apps you want it to shut down. And you cannot access those apps until you take your phone, tap it on the Brick, and have it reopen. And I just really like having that physical barrier where it's different than like if you have screen time on your phone and you can just click it to give you 15 more minutes. No, for this one, I have to go upstairs or go downstairs and actually unbrick my phone. So if you need something like that, I think it's really great. I will have a link in the description that you can use and it will get you 10% off. And you can use your HSA and FSA to pay for it, which is very cool. I will put that link in the show notes. Now, it's funny because over-researching is actually in itself a nervous system pattern. So if you find that you're constantly researching or constantly asking AI or looking for the next book, again, I love reading, but if we're constantly staying in our head, it might actually, even if it's subconscious, but it might be a way of avoiding being in your body because it feels productive. Like you feel like you're doing the work. And this is very common for a lot of high functioning women, but research actually becomes its own avoidance strategy. Again, not a flaw. I talked about this on the last episode. It doesn't have to mean that you're inherently flawed. It's just that your mind learned early that thinking was safer than feeling. So it keeps going there. You keep going back to it. But the thing is that it has a ceiling. And once you hit it, you feel stuck. You feel stuck even though you keep thinking you're doing everything right or you keep researching what to do next. So what is actually going to move the needle here? I have a couple different categories because there might be different things that work for different people. Okay. The first one that I have, instead of that top down where you're having the brain try to manage the body, we go bottom up. We go with somatic work. Okay. So if everything that you've tried has been top down, somatic work is going to reverse that. And you're going to let your body lead rather than your brain. So this is breath work. This is noticing the sensation without immediately analyzing it. This is moving your body so that you can get rid of all of that stored stress. And again, the point here is not to add a bunch more practices, but it's to change the direction of what you're doing. You can also notice versus fix, okay? If you're relating to this, you probably know that you don't need another protocol. You might just need to slow down. Slow down enough to feel what's actually happening before you automatically override it. The override is the problem. And at this point, you've probably become an expert at functioning through the dysregulation. The work here is catching this in real time in your body versus looking back and realizing, oh, I can see that I was functioning through that dysregulation. Instead, it's going, okay, real time. I notice I'm Googling how to resolve, whatever the issue is that's coming up. And instead noticing in your body what you're feeling. So we're just noticing over fixing. Another one that I have is pattern interruption. So for example, if you're saying yes when you actually want to say no, and interrupting that pattern in real time. And the last one that I have is co-regulation, because it's so often, especially for high functioning women, that we try to do everything on our own. We never ask for help and we try to solve it all on our own. If you're trying to solve this on your own, it does have limits, just to be honest. The nervous system regulates in relationship, in community. So if you can be around people that you feel safe with, therapeutic containers like coaching communities, it's part of our biology that we need to be in connection and in community with others. So if you can find a space where you feel safe with like-minded people, that is a way to co-regulate your nervous system. So if you still feel off, even after trying different modalities, even if you're constantly researching, it doesn't mean that you haven't found the right information. It's just that you haven't identified your specific pattern, which is the particular way that your nervous system learned to cope. This is a big piece of it, honestly, because it depends what your response is. Is it flight? Is it freeze? Is it fawn? Is it a combination? Does it depend on the scenario? We are all individuals with our own biology, our own histories, our own ways of processing. And it's very important that you know your specific pattern and that you find the actual coping tools for you, for both your pattern and just simply what works for you. And that is what needs to be seen before anything else can shift. So if this episode resonated with you, I actually made a quiz specifically to help you identify which nervous system pattern is driving your life right now. And it will show you each category and where you score on each of those categories. So it's almost like a nervous system pattern report. And if you want to take that, it's completely free. I think it takes like 5 minutes. I took it myself. And it will probably explain a lot. So I'll put the link for that quiz in the show notes along with the brick discount. Now, you know what is making me cozy is breath work. I have used breath work for many, many years, of course, but I've really brought it back into the rotation. And honestly, I do breath work every night before going to bed because it just helps me. I have a certain way that I do it, but it helps me relax and get to sleep and sleep well. But I've really been bringing it back into like a daily morning and evening practice and throughout the day, depending on what I need. So I know, certain ways to have more activating breath work and also ones that are more relaxing, parasympathetic versus sympathetic. My point is, it's been a very, very helpful tool because I kind of feel like I'm in the eye of the storm right now in my life. There's a lot happening around me, and yet I am able to remain grounded and calm while still addressing what needs to be addressed. And I 100% credit that to breathwork, which is a somatic tool which helps regulate your nervous system. Just saying. And I often incorporate breathwork actually into my sessions with my clients. So by the way, if you want to book a consult, that is also free and will be in the show notes. All right, guys, I hope you have a wonderful, cozy week, and I will talk to you all next week. Stay cozy. Bye.